magnetic force on a moving charge. Remember, a charge will experience a magnetic force only if it is moving. So from this we can write the magnetic force acting on a moving charge is given by BQV sin theta. Actually it is given as V into V bar cross B bar, because V cross B is equal to VB sin theta. So this is the magnetic force that we are going to use in this topic. Based on this one, when does this magnetic force will become zero? So this magnetic force can become zero. It may be zero if force is zero. Now suppose if a charged particle of charge q and mass m enters into a magnetic field parallel to this field. So this is the field, magnetic field. These are the magnetic field lines. If a charge enters into a magnetic field with a velocity v naught, then what is the force experienced by this charged particle? So this charged particle experiences no force. Why? Because you can see this equation, or you can see this equation as velocity b are parallel to each other. V cross B is equal VB sin theta, that is VB sin 0, which is equal to 0. So the magnetic force experienced with the charged particle will be 0. Whenever the force is 0, what is the acceleration of this charged particle? We know that A is equal to F by M. As F is equal to 0, acceleration is 0. That means this particle will experience no magnetic force and it will not experience any acceleration. So it moves with the same velocity from here to here without diverting, without changing its velocity either in direction or in magnitude. So the first case is if the charged particles enters into a magnetic field parallel to it. So F is equal to 0, and the first case is charge enters parallel to B bar. Suppose second one, if a charged particle enters into a magnetic field with some velocity parallel to it, the magnetic force is 0. Let us say if a neutron enters into a magnetic field. Actually neutron is a chargeless particle, but our heading is a moving charge. But as charge of neutron is 0, the magnetic force experienced by this neutron in the magnetic field will be 0. If a charge is placed, charge is kept at rest in a magnetic field. So when the charge is kept at rest, the velocity will become 0. So F is equal to BQV sin theta, where B is there, Q is there, but velocity is 0. The force experienced by this charged particle when it is kept at rest means 0. That means if you take a magnetic field here, this is the magnetic field, and a charge is placed here at rest. So as it is kept at rest, as the velocity of this charged particle is 0, it will not experience any force. It remains at rest only. So the charge remains at rest as it is not experiencing any force. Force is 0, remains at rest. Fourth one. Now similarly, if you take this charge 0, here the charge is 0, here velocity is 0, here velocity parallel to magnetic field. In these three cases, the charge will not experience any force. So these are the three cases that you have to remember. Next, what is the direction of the force experienced by this charged particle when it is kept in a uniform electric field or when it is passing through uniform electric field? So these are the three cases where the magnetic force is 0. When the magnetic force is maximum, when the magnetic force will be minimum. So here, if you take this equation, from this equation we can write force is minimum. Here I have discussed, we have discussed three different cases. Force is minimum if these two are parallel, if charge is 0, if velocity is 0. So this you can write F is minimum and which is also 0 when the three cases are either V parallel to B, or the charge on the particle is 0, or particle is at rest. So in these three cases, the force exponential charge particle will be minimum and equal to 0. V parallel to B means this theta must be equal to 0 degrees or 180 degrees. Actually here I am writing that fourth one. If it is the uniform magnetic field, if charge is entering into this one with a velocity V0 anti-parallel to the field, then the force experienced by the charged particle is given by BQV sine 180. Sine 180 is also 0, 0. That's why this is the fourth case, but these two comes under the same category. This is parallel to the field, this is anti-parallel to the field. Then also it will not experience any force. It moves with the same velocity V0. So this is the case, theta 0 or 180. But when does this charged particle experience maximum force? The charged particle will experience maximum force if theta is equal to 90. So F max is given by BQV only, because this theta will become 90. So here what are the cases? If theta is equal to 90 degrees or 180 degrees. But you have to remember one point. Sorry, this is 270 degrees. We have to remember one point. If theta is equal to 90, the force experienced by this one is given by BQV sine 90. Sine 90 is equal to 1. This will become BQV. If theta is equal to 270, this will become BQV sine 270, which is equal to minus BQV. Remember students, the force is maximum and its value may be plus or minus, because force is a vector. Plus BQ means it is acting in one direction. Minus BQ means the same magnitude will be acting in the opposite direction. So only the difference between these two plus or minus, and here it is not that much important. Why? Because plus BQ means force is acting in a particular direction. Minus BQ means force is acting in the opposite direction to this value. To find out the direction of the magnetic force experienced by moving charge, we will use this Fleming's left hand rule. Here the thumb will indicate the thrust experienced by the charged particle. So here T is common. Thumb of your left hand will indicate the thrust, and this is the forefinger will give the field direction, and this is the central finger, or we can call it as middle finger, will give the direction of motion of charge. Central finger gives the charge, forefinger gives the field, then the thumb will indicate the thrust experienced by the charged particle here. Now here I am going to use this concept here. So this is the magnetic field which is acting in the direction of the forefinger. The magnetic field is indicated by forefinger. If a charge enters into this one perpendicularly like this, it will experience a force. So we will discuss this point later, perpendicular direction. Let us say if a charge is entering into this one with a velocity V0 parallel to this field. So here V parallel to B, or V bar parallel to B. So as we discussed earlier, when V and B are parallel to each other, the charge will not experience any force. So the magnetic force experienced with charged particle is 0. So acceleration is 0. What is the distance traveled by this charged particle from here to here? The distance traveled by this one in a given time. So how to find this one? X is given by v naught t plus half a t square. X is equal to, this is v naught velocity, initial velocity, and the time taken in this one, let us say t, and a is 0. So the distance traveled by a charged particle parallel to a magnetic field in a time t is given by v naught t only, because there is no acceleration. So velocity remains constant. Velocity v bar remains constant. Here the charged particle will move in a straight line only. So whenever a charge enters into a magnetic field, either parallel to B bar or anti-parallel to B bar, this is parallel to B bar, anti-parallel. In these two cases, charged particle will move in a straight line. So this is the charged particle which is moving in a straight line. Second one, the charged particle may move in a circular path also. So now let us say this is a uniform magnetic field which is acting into the board. So whenever field is acting into the board, we will represent the magnetic field with this intus. Now in this case, if the charged particle enters into the magnetic field perpendicular to it, that means velocity of the charged particle is perpendicular to B bar, V bar perpendicular to B bar. So now I am going to take the magnetic field will be indicated by the forefinger. Here field is acting into the board. So I am going to keep this finger into this board. Let us say charge enters like this. A charged particle of charge q and mass m enters into the field here. If it enters into the field, so it is the direction of the velocity of the initial velocity of the charged particle. So what is the angle between field and velocity? Here field is into velocity is like this. So I am going to take only these two. So this is field and velocity. So what is the angle between these two? 90. So here these two are perpendicular to each other. Whenever a charge enters into a magnetic field in this direction, it will experience a force in the vertically upward direction. That means this charged particle will not move in a straight line. Why? Because here it is not experiencing any force, but here it is experiencing a force. Due to this force, gradually this charge will experience a force in this direction. So when it is moving in this direction, once again this is the field, charge is moving like this, it will exchange a force in this direction, so its direction will change. So now it moves in a circular path in this one. So who is providing the centripetal force for this charged particle to move in a circular path? Here velocity is perpendicular to the field, here velocity is perpendicular to the field, here velocity is perpendicular to the field, here velocity is perpendicular to the field. Every time the magnitude of velocity is not changing. Here velocity, let us say v naught is equal to 10 meter per second. Here also this will be v naught only 10 meter per second. This is also 10 meter per second, and this is also 10 meter per second. The magnitude of the velocity is not changing throughout the circular path, but the direction is changing. As velocity is a vector, either its magnitude or its direction changes, then we can say the velocity has changed. Here magnitude is not changing, direction is changing. Now it is moving in a circular path, so this is radius r. Now who is providing the centripetal force for the charged particle to move in a circular path? The magnetic force, that is F mag, provides centripetal force for the charge to move in a circular path. Whenever a charge enters into a magnetic field perpendicular to the field, it always moves in a circular path, and this circular path is also perpendicular to the magnetic field and also with a constant velocity. Remember, constant velocity, instead of telling constant velocity with constant magnitude, because velocity direction is changing. So or you can write a uniform speed. So this is a uniform circular motion Why? Because the speed is constant, but the velocity is varying here. Now, as the magnetic force provides the centripetal force for the charge to move in a circular path, what is the magnitude of the magnetic force here, which is given by BQV sine theta. Here theta is equal to 90 degrees. Why? Because theta is the angle between velocity and magnetic field. Here this is the velocity and this is the magnetic field. So these two are perpendicular to each other, theta 90. So if you write BQ sine 90, it will become BQ only. This is equal to the centripetal force, because this is providing centripetal force for this charged particle to move. So which is given by m v square by radius of this one. Let me take it as r. So here I am taking this r. Now if you cancel this v and v here, this r can be written as mv by bq. So this is the radius of the circular path, in which a radius of the circular path describes the charged particle when it enters into a magnetic field perpendicular to it. So I am going to write this as velocity is momentum. So you can write the same expression as momentum of the charged particle by B into Q. This is one more expression for R, and this can also be written as, here I can write this as R is equal to P by BQ is one more expression. Similarly, we know that momentum, and if we know the relation between kinetic energy and momentum, kinetic energy of a charged particle generally we write half mv square, or in terms of momentum this can also be written as p square by 2m. So what is p square here? Cross product of these two. So p square is equal to 2m into ke, and p is equal to root 2m into ke. So the same expression in place of p I am going to write 2m ke. So r is equal to root over 2m into ke by bq. This is one more expression for radius of the circular path described by a charged particle. Similarly, if a charge q moves from point A to point B or point x to y here, whenever a charge moves from here to here, generally a positive charge moves from high potential to low potential. Let us say the potential difference between x and y is V. Then what is the energy gained by this one? Here it is at rest. Now it is moving in the direction of the magnetic field. So here it gains some kinetic energy, it acquires some velocity here. So the work done is equal to change in kinetic energy. Work done is equal to potential difference between these 2 points, which is V, into Q, that is the charge moving, is equal to change in kinetic energy. The initial kinetic energy was 0. Why? Because it was at rest at x, and here it got some velocity V and kinetic energy K. So this is Ke minus 0. So work done is equal to K kinetic energy gained here. So in place of Ke, you can also write the product of the potential difference, the potential through which the charge is accelerated, into the amount of charge. So if you write this one, then you can write this as the third equation. In place of this you can write, this is the third one, R is equal to root over 2m. What is the kinetic energy? In place of kinetic energy you can write the potential difference into charge by BQ. So this is one more expression. Why? Because in the competitive exams, sometimes they may give only the velocity and mass and charge. You can use this formula to find out the radius of the circular path described the charged particle when it enters into a magnetic field perpendicular to it. Suppose if momentum is given, use this formula. If kinetic energy and mass and charge are given, use this formula. If potential and charge mass are given, use this formula. After finding this radius of the circular path described by charged particle in a magnetic field, now how to find out the time taken by this charged particle to complete one circular path? So the time period is given by, here I am going to denote the time period as t. Here the time taken to complete one revolution is called time period. So in this case, it is going to complete a circular path of circumference 2 pi r. So this time period is given by distance traveled by the speed of this particle. So time period is given by this distance traveled is 2 pi r is the distance traveled. Let us say it is starting from this point. So after complete one revolution, it will reach the same point. So the distance traveled is 2 pi r and the speed of the particle is v. The velocity is changing, but the speed never changes. So throughout this circular path, speed remains constant. Now the time period is given by 2 pi by v. What is this r? R is the radius of the circular path described by charged particle, which is given by either mv by bq or p by bq, root over 2m ke bq, or 2 over root over 2m vq bq. So I am going to substitute the fundamental formula, which is given by mv by bq. Now you cancel v and v. The time period in this case is given by 2 pi m by bq. So this is the time period of the charged particle in this uniform circular motion when the charge enters into a magnetic field perpendicular to it. If you know the time period, then we can find the frequency of revolution, that means number of revolutions made by the charged particle in the magnetic field per second. So this is called frequency. So the frequency is given by f is equal to 1 by time. So here frequency is the reciprocal of this one. This is bq by 2 pi m. So this is the frequency of revolution of this one. After that, if you want to find out the angular velocity, why? Because if it is moving in a straight line, then we can check, we can have only that linear velocity and linear speed. But as it is moving in a circular path, that means for every fraction of second it is describing some angular displacement. So in this case we are going to use angular velocity. So angular velocity omega is given by 2 pi f, that is 2 pi into f is given by bq by 2 pi m. So 2 pi get cancelled. The angular velocity is given by bq by m. So this is one more expression. This is angular velocity. So in this the expressions are the radius r is equal to mv by bq, which can also be written as p by bq root over 2m ke by bq root over 2m vq by bq. So after the time period, time taken to complete one revolution is this much. The frequency of revolution is reciprocal of time period this much. The angular velocity is this much. So after this, how to find the kinetic energy of the charged particle while moving in a circular path? The kinetic energy is given by Ke is equal half mv square. So the kinetic energy of the charged particle is given by half into m into what is velocity? You can use any one of these expressions to find out the velocity. So where is v here? This is the velocity of the charged particle. By cross multiplication, velocity can be written as bqr by m. So this is bqr by m whole square. So this is m by 2. This is b square q square r square by m square. Mm get cancelled. So finally the kinetic energy of the charged particle moving in a circular path is given by b square q square r square by 2m. So this is the expression for kinetic energy of a charged particle moving in a circular path. If a charge enters into a magnetic field parallel or anti-parallel, it always moves along a straight line. If a charge enters into a magnetic field perpendicular to it, experiences a force towards the center, and due to this it changes its direction continuously and moves in a circular path, and these are the expressions. And most of the problems in the common exams depends on these formulas. If you observe these equations for the radius of the circular path, kinetic energy, time period, angular velocity or frequency, you can see the time period does not depend upon the velocity. So t independent of velocity. So this is the most important point. So whatever be the velocity, the time period will be constant for any charged particle with given data, that is mass and charge. So time period directly proportional to m by q are inversely proportional to Q by M. So this Q by M is also called a specific charge. So time period inversely proportional to specific charge. Now here in this case, generally they will give problems on electron, proton, deuteron, alpha particle. If you know the charge and the mass of these particles, as the velocity will be given in the problem and the magnetic field will be given in the problem, you can find the radius of the circular path described by these particles. Now for electron, what is the charge, what is the mass? For electron, the charge is denoted with E and the mass ME, which is equal to mass of proton by 1837 or exact value 9.1 into minus 31 kg. So this is the charge and mass of electrons, charge E, but this is a negative charge, but we were not going to use this negative charge, just you will write E only. Similarly, if you take a proton, proton has a positive charge which is exactly opposite to the charge of electron, but mass of proton is 1837 times of mass of electron, or mass of proton will become 1.67 into 10 power minus 27 kg. So this is the charge of proton and the mass of proton. And the third one, deuteron. The proton can be written as 1H1, deuteron is 1H2. So this is hydrogen atom. This is hydrogen atom with one more nucleus, one more neutron. Neutron has no charge, only proton. It consists of one proton, one neutron. So proton has charge plus E, neutron has no charge. So total charge of neutron is plus E only. But mass of proton, mass of neutron almost equal. Mass of proton nearly equal to mass of neutron. This is 1.67 into 10 power minus 27 kg. So what is the total mass of deuteron? As it has one proton and one neutron, total mass of deuteron is given by 2 into 1.67 into 10 power minus 27 kgs. This is the mass of deuteron, this is the charge of deuteron. And the last one, alpha particle, the nucleus of helium atom. So this is 2He4, which consists of 2 protons and 2 neutrons only. If you remove 2 electrons from helium atom, you will get alpha particle, or this can also be written as H++. I removed the 2 electrons in the orbits, then I will get alpha particle. So alpha particle has 2 protons and neutron. Neutron has no charge, only protons have 2 charges. So this charge is plus 2E. And what is the mass of this one? As it has 2 protons and 2 neutrons, total mass will be, mass of alpha particle is 4 times the mass of this one, 4 into 1.67 into 10 power minus 27 kgs. Remember, if we remember these 4 expressions, it is easy to solve problems based on these expressions. Most frequently asked question based on this concept is, an electron, proton and alpha particle enters into a magnetic field perpendicular to it. Find the ratio of radii described by these particles, 3 particles A, if they have same velocity. If all these 3 particles have same velocity and if they have same kinetic energy. Now, to solve this problem, first of all, I need to find out the radius of these electron, proton and alpha particle. So in the first case, solution, this is the question. If they have same velocity, so what are the charged particles here? First one is electron, second one is proton, third one is alpha particle. So what are the masses and charges for this one? Charge is equal to E, mass is equal to M. this charge is equal to E, mass is equal, this is ME, this is MP, and this alpha particle, remember this one, charge is 2E, this is minus and plus, not important here, 2E, this is 4MP. Now this is the given data. Actually this data will not be given in a problem, only this much is given. So in the first case all are having same velocity. So which formula we have to choose? Here this is the only expression in which velocity is given. Remember this is the potential. So this is the velocity. So I am going to write the radius described by this charged particle when it enters into a magnetic field perpendicular to this one is given by R is equal to mv by bq. So this is the expression. Now in this case I am going to write radius of electron is to radius of proton is to radius of alpha particle is given by, this is the radius of electron, proton and alpha particle. So now let me substitute this value, mass of electron, velocity of electron by B into charge of electron is to mass of proton, velocity of proton by B into charge of proton is to mass of alpha particle, velocity of alpha particle by B into charge of alpha particle. Here as the first case states that all are having same velocity, so this is case 1. So velocity is constant, you can cancel it, and they are entering into the same magnetic field, you can cancel it, and they have charges E and 2E, you can cancel it. So the ratio is mass of electron is to mass of proton is to mass of alpha particle by 2. Now we know the relation between mass of electron and mass of proton. This is mass of electron is mass of proton by 1837. So mass of electron can be written as mass of proton by 1837 is to, this is mass of proton. What is mass of alpha particle? Mass of alpha particle is nothing but mass of 4 protons, because generally mass of proton is slightly less than mass of neutron, but in these competitive exams we will take mass of proton nearly equal to mass of neutron. So this is 4MP by 2. Now you can cancel MP, MP, MP. This cancels 2. This is 1:7 is to 1:2. So these are the radii. You can see this one. This radius will be very small because 1 by 1837, and this radius will be bigger here. In same problem they may give which particle will describe a circular path of maximum radius. Then answer will be alpha. Now in the second case, if they have same kinetic energy, then we have to use this formula, the ratio of the radii with the help of kinetic energy. So in case B, radius of electron is to radius of proton is to radius of the alpha part, radius of the circular path described by alpha particle is given by, here I am going to write root over 2m ke by bq. So I am going to write, so this will be equal to root over 2m ke bq. So first one is root over 2 mass of electron ke by b into Q is 1. This is also root over 2 mp ke by be. And third one root over 2 m alpha ke by b2e. So first you can cancel be here, be here, be here, and ke cancels. So 2 get cancels. The ratio will become first mass of electron root to me is to, this is mass of proton root to mp is to, this is root to m alpha by 2. So as we know the relation between electron mass and proton mass, if you substitute you will get the same thing. So this is how you can solve this problem. Sometimes they may give, instead of electron, proton, alpha, they may give this deuteron, proton and electron, or deuteron, proton and alpha. So they may give any 3. So they may ask you to find out the ratio. Not only this one, sometimes they may ask you to find out the time period of this one. So in the same case, if they ask you to find out the ratio of the time periods with when they are having same velocity, now how to find out the time period? So time period of electron is to time period of proton is to time period of alpha if they have same velocity. So this is given by 2 pi m by bq. In this case 2 pi, b are constants. So time period depends on mass by charge. So first this is equal to mass of electron by charge of electron. Directly I am going to write this as E. This is mass of proton by charge. This is mass of alpha by charge 2e. Cancel. This is 1837. This is mass of proton by 1837. Mass of proton. This is mass of alpha is nothing but 4 mp. So 4 masses of proton by 2. This cancel. This cancel. 1 by 1837 is to 1 is to 2. There is a problem. A positively charged particle having charge q, mass m, moving with a velocity. This velocity is given as mu naught v naught I cap. That means the velocity of the charged particle is along x-axis and the magnitude is v naught. It enters into a region in a uniform magnetic field where b is equal to minus b naught k cap. So k cap is the unit vector along z-axis, but minus k cap means into the negative z-axis. The field region extends from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to d. Find the time spent by the charged particle if the distance of this field, that is from 0 to d, is equal to 1.5 times the mv by bq, or if it is d, mv by 2 bq or half of mv by bq. First let me draw the first case. If distance between the two boundaries of the magnetic field is equal to 1.5 mv by bq. So let me draw the diagram first. This is the magnetic field which is acting into the board. Why? Because this is minus k cap is. So if it is x-axis, if it is y-axis, if it is z-axis, then we can write this as the field is acting into the board here. This is the magnetic field which is having a magnitude of b naught. So as the field is acting into this one, this is x-axis, this is y-axis, this is z-axis, but this is into the negative z-axis. So here b is equal to minus b naught k cap is represented like this. So this is b into the board. Now how the charged particle is entering here? So these are the two boundaries. Let me take, this is y-axis, this is x-axis. Here x is equal to 0. And at this boundary x is equal to d. So the magnetic field is spread between x is equal to 0 to x is equal to d. In this case, a charged particle is entering here along x-axis because velocity v naught along x-axis. So I am going to draw that charged particle which is entering here having charge q, mass m. Here the field is into the board. I am using Fleming's left hand rule. So this is the field, this is the direction of the positive charge. It is positive charge only, and this is the force. Here I am rotating my fingers such that the forefinger gives the field. This is the direction of the velocity. So this is the velocity direction which is v naught I cap. So it will experience a force in the vertically upward direction. So now the direction of the velocity will change here. But it is given that the distance of this magnetic field, or the distance between the two bounds of magnetic field, is 1.5 mv by bq. So this is also equal to 1.5 times the radius of the circular path described by the charged particle. You can see this formula, mv by bq is the radius of the circular path described. That means the radius described circular path will be r. Here d is greater than r. That means the charged particle will have sufficient time to turn back. So if the charges or the magnetic field is spread only up to here, then it may leave this space. But here the charged particle will have sufficient time to turn back. So here charged particle, charge has sufficient space to turn back. So it is turning back. So it enters like this and it leaves here, and after reaching this point, then after coming to this point, this will not be influenced by magnetic field, it moves in a straight line only. So here it is describing a circular path. Now in this you can see what is the time spent by this charged particle in the magnetic field if D is 1.5 mV by BQ. This is the center of the circular path here, and from this we can write this is the radius of the circular path described here. So this is a D, this is R, and D greater than R, and where R is equal to mV by BQ. So it will describe a semicircular path. So charge completes semicircular path. As the charge completes semicircular path, here we can write time spent in the field is given by half of the time period. To complete one complete revolution, it will take t seconds. So to describe this half semicircular path, this will take t by 2, where 2 is equal to 2 pi m by bq by 2 get cancelled. So the time taken is pi m by bq. So this is the time spent. We can find this time spent in another way also. Here what I am going to write, the distance travelled by this charged particle in the magnetic field is given by, this is a semicircle. For complete circle, circumference is 2 pi r. Half circumference is, that is the distance travelled by the charged particle. Distance travelled is equal 2 pi r by 2, that is pi r. So that is pi into r is equal to mv by bq. This is the distance travelled. So what is the speed of this charged particle? Speed of charge. Remember students, when a charge enters into a magnetic field perpendicular to this, the velocity initially v0, here the velocity will be 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 v0. Here the magnitude of velocity is not changing from point to point, but its direction is changing. So as a whole we can say the velocity is changing. Either the magnitude or direction changes, velocity is said to be changed. But what about the speed? Magnitude of velocity is speed. Here magnitude is v0, magnitude v0, magnitude v0, magnitude v0, magnitude v0. So speed of the charge is v0, which is given by v in this problem, or you can write, already I wrote v here, v. So what is the time spent? Speed is equal to distance by time. Time is equal to distance by speed. Distance is equal to pi mv by bq by v. V get cancelled. Once again you will get a pi m by bq, which is the expression that already we got it here. So either you can use this concept, or you can find the total distance travel and the total speed of this one, and you can use by using speed is equal to distance by time, or time is equal to distance to speed, you can find out this value. Part of this problem where d is equal to half of mv by bq. So I am going to draw the magnetic field here. This is the magnetic field which is acting into the board. This is the magnetic field, and the limits of this one, as it mentioned here, x is equal to 0 to x is equal to d. So this is y axis, this is x axis. Here this is x is equal to 0, and this edge, this is x is equal to d. Now when a charger particle enters into this one with a charge q, mass m, with a velocity v0 I cap, that is along x axis. So I am going to draw, this is the charger particle having charge q, mass m, and enters perpendicular to the magnetic field like this. But remember students, here the distance between these two boundaries is less than mv by bq, radius of the circular path described by this charged particle. So here in the previous case, charge has sufficient space to turn back. Here, before turning itself, before turning back, it will leave the magnetic field. So the diagram will be like this, as it is by applying Fleming's left hand rule. This is the field, this is the direction of motion of the charge, force will be expressed upwards. So this will move in this direction, moves like this. So before completing the circular path, it comes out of the magnetic field and then it moves in a straight line. So this is how we can draw this diagram. That means here what is the conclusion? In the previous case, charge has sufficient space to turn back. Here charge has not having sufficient space to turn back. So it is not having the sufficient space to turn back. If it is having more magnetic field here, then it can turn back. But it is entering perpendicular to the field and leaving perpendicular to the field. Here field is inverse, it is leaving like this. So these two are perpendicular. So what is the time spent by this charge in this magnetic field? So here I can extend this magnetic field and I can draw these boundaries, and here the distance d is equal to half mv by bq. So I am writing, this is the second part. Here d is equal to mv by 2bq, which is equal to half into mv by bq. So distance is less than the radius described by this charged particle. Now if you draw this field up to here in this like this, now this is the radius of the circular path described by the charged particle here. So I am going to denote this as r. Now at this point, let us say it is leaving the charge, leaving the field. So this is the pq. So let me take this point as O. OP is the radius. O, let us say this I am going to take origin, otherwise let me take PQ, let us say this is R. From this diagram, OP is equal OR is equal radius of the circular path, which is equal to mv by bq. Now I need to find out the time spent by charged particle in the magnetic field. So before that, what I am going to write, this is the angle described by the radius vector. Initially when it is entering into the magnetic field, this is the radius vector, which is equal to OR, and while leaving the magnetic field, the radius vector is OP. So the radius vector is making some angle at the center of the circular path, theta. So angular displacement is theta, but how to find this arc length? The arc length is the distance traveled by the charged particle in the magnetic field. So this is the distance traveled. So distance traveled, let me take it as a d distance, which is equal to the length of the arc between r and p. So which is given by r into theta. So this is equal to r theta. What is r here? mv by bq into theta. But how to find the theta here? If you find this theta, you can find this distance easily. Now this theta is given by, in this problem it is given that the distance from here to here is half of the circular this radius. So this is 0.5 mv by bq. Now if I want this theta value here, the opposite side is 0.5 mv by bq, that is the distance between x is equal to 0 to x is equal to d, and the hypotenuse is equal to mv by bq. So I can write sin theta is equal opposite side by hypotenuse. So that is 0.5, otherwise they have given 1 by 2 only. Let me write this as 1 by 2. This is mv by 2bq by mv by bq. This cancel. This is half. Sin theta is equal to half. So from this we can write theta is equal to 30 degrees or pi by 6 radians. So I am using this radians value here. So what is the distance described by the charged particle or traveled by charged particle in this one? This is mv by bq into pi by 6. This is equation 1. So what is the speed of the charged particle? As we discussed earlier, whenever a charged particle moves in a circular path in a magnetic field, the magnitude of the velocity never changes or the speed remains constant. So speed is equal to v. The time spent is given by distance traveled by speed, which is given by mv pi by 6bq by v. This vv get cancelled, so time is equal to pi m by 6bq. So this is the time taken by this charge particle to describe this one. In the similar problem, sometimes they may ask you to find out the sideways deflection produced by charge particle. Here it is entering along x-axis, so it is moving in a circular path and then it is moving in a straight line only. After coming out of this magnetic field, it always moves along a straight line. So what is this sideways deflection? So how to find this PQ value here? To find out this PQ value, what I am going to write? So I am going to use that concept. PQ is equal to sideways movement, sideways deflection. Sideways deflection is given by PQ here. So how to find this PQ? PQ is nothing but this is radius r in this right angle triangle. So let me take this as S. OS is, if it is r and theta, this will be r cos theta. So what is this PQ? PQ is nothing but this RS. So PQ is also equal to RS. So this PQ can be written as RS, which is equal to OR from here to here, OR minus OS. OR is equal to radius that I already wrote previously minus OS is equal to R cos theta. So the sideways deflection is given by R of 1 minus cos theta. In this problem I found theta as pi by 6. So this will become R of 1 minus cos pi by 6 root 3 by 2. So this is the sideways deflection produced before this charged particle leaves the magnetic field.